Hey guys, Blake here with another video, and today we've got another Botanica Boutique Sanctuary M build, and I think it's going to be a fun one, so let's jump straight into the video. Alright, so first up, let's flip over and we'll have a look at what we've got to work with today. Okay, so first up we've got a Sanctuary M. This is a concrete base, this one. I got a couple of concrete base ones. It comes with the silicone insert, and then we've got the rainforest top on it for it today. So once again we're going to do a bit of a rainforest style terrarium here. I've got some terrestrial mosses that you can see over to the side, but to get started I'm just going to add a bit of a drainage layer of gravel down the bottom. So on top of that I'm going to place just some organic potting soil, and it's also got some sphagnum moss in it as well, this one. Actually we'll just put that at the front because we're going to do something a little bit different today. So if you've seen my other Botanica Boutique Sanctuary M build, I really enjoyed that Terrarium stonescape, and I want to do a similar thing today, but I've got a new type of stone here that I have never used. So I think this is called, might have a different name depending on where you are, but I think it's called Red Canyon Rock. That's what it was labelled as. So I think it has some really nice texture in it. The light's going to make it difficult to see. There's some really nice grain going through it and stuff like that. So I wanted to play around with this rock here and build up a bit of a canyon style scape. I mean, these are small things, so it's always difficult to get too in depth with it, but for the most part we're going to do our best. So I've got a bunch of little pieces here that we're going to work with, and to accompany that we might even incorporate some cholla wood as well. Cholla wood is made from old cactuses, so I think it fits the theme here perfectly. Okay, so I'm just basically lining up some of the pieces here that we've got, and the good thing about picking up small chunks is it's really cheap. This was only $13 for all these pieces, and a few others that I've got down on the floor beside me that we won't put up on the tank just for the sake of it. So I've just measured this piece beside the lid, and I do think that it will fit. We will just check it, but I'll just make sure that it's going to balance first. Will of course be easier when we put sphagnum around it, but don't want to get too ahead of myself here. So we'll just do a test fit here, and it will fit in, which is perfect, but we'll just have to move it forward a little bit. So to do that I'll just put some sphagnum at the back, pack it in so it's going to be a bit more in place. The drainage layer of gravel was a good thought, but it does make things a little bit unstable. So what we might do is actually put a bit more of the potty mix down here underneath, something that we can actually use for a bit more stability as we attempt to balance all these rocks. So that's definitely the face of this rock that I like the best. And that position is going to work for us. So that's a really great starting point, I think. After mucking around for a long time, this is the scape that I've ended up with here. So remember what this looks like, because the next process here is to place the mosses underneath this rock. So I'm actually going to take it all off again, but this is how I want it to be reassembled. So make sure that you remind me if I start to put things in the wrong place. To make things a little bit easier, I will just remove the other rocks that we're not going to use, and we'll put them off to the side in an order that we kind of want to use them in. These front pieces are a bit less critical. Okay, so now we can place the base layer of moss down. Just find a nice flat piece, because with this sort of canyon vibe or red desert sort of vibe, I don't really see it as being too lush, so going to get some pieces that are a bit more low to the ground than we've used in previous builds. I have spoken about it a couple of times now, but if you haven't seen this stuff before, there's a cool story to this, so just bear with me if you have heard this one before. So this here is a piece of the Tasmanian forest that was actually salvaged when otherwise it would have been deforested, which I think is really cool, and I'm glad, thankful for that person out there who, I don't know how they do it, but somehow find out that areas are going to be deforested and go in there. I guess they probably make money out of it, but I still think it's a cool feature to bring into your home. So I've just got the moss layer down there now, which I'm pretty happy with. So we'll get in now and put the rocks back in, or attempt to anyway. I think that one was... This one's the most important because it gets in the way of the lids. Okay, so that seems quite stable in there now. Okay, so I just had to pull up the old video to remember how I put it together. So that's the joys of making a video on things, I guess, is that you have a bit of a reference point. And just like any aquascape or any sort of replication of an environment that you're trying to do, the smaller pieces are always just as important as the larger ones. Alright, so now I think we'll just place some feature pieces around the rocks, and I've got some more fern sort of looking pieces here which you might use, and we're just going to have to be a little bit delicate when we do this. Just don't want it too much in the negative space that we've created, because that will detract away and confuse people's eyes. There we go. I think we'll just give it a bit of a spray down now, see what it looks like. One thing, just looking at it here, the negative space kind of does wind around, but I don't think it's terrible, especially being that it is a 360-degree piece. But just so that it makes a bit more sense, I'll put fern pieces at the back, and 90% of the time you won't even see these anyway, but you might see a bit of foliage creeping out through the gap there, sort of getting people to look a bit closer, say, oh, what's that back there? Another look, all watered in. And I think this is going to look really good. Nice contrast to the Terrarium stone one. If you didn't catch that build, I'll chuck the link in the card above now. But I find these have been fun little projects. Definitely paid retail for both of these. Happy to. I just think they're, fun way to... Oh, do you have a minor problem here where this rock doesn't want to fit in? Again, we'll just make sure that everything is tucked in around the edges here. You just fit in there, so that's really good. I'm happy with that. So I hope you liked this build. If you did, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ding the notification bell, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.